Alright, can everybody hear me? Yes, Patrick, it's a flawless stream so far. Well, that is if you can hear me. How's everybody doing? We got 4 people. Alright, great. Loud and clear. Alright, is the music too loud? And I don't even know if y'all are going to want it on the whole time. I was just trying to put something on since I doubt I'll be chatting the whole time. I don't see, unless y'all have a lot of questions. Has it been that long, G? You haven't seen me with the facial hair? Alright guys, well I'm basically just gonna draw, and if y'all have any questions about the Kickstarter or want to chat, whatever, I just here to hang out. Probably do like 30 minutes, maybe an hour, just depends if it's going well. If we get a lot of people just hanging out, then I'll extend it. Switch over so you can see what I'm actually doing. So if anybody has any questions about, what I'm drawing, what I'm doing, or the Kickstarter, feel free to ask away. So the idea was, I think, just wanted to have something to draw on stream, just to kind of hopefully create some buzz around the Kickstarter, and I can get some new eyes on it. So what I'm going to do is pretty much just the idea is to animate like some little simple scene that I'll use for the Kickstarter, like an update when maybe we actually hit the goal. So the idea is he's gonna reach off screen, and then he'll slide in a little sign that comes in and covers him, and then I can put, thank you, anything I want on it, or you rock, whatever. So the idea was I was just going to quickly, roughly animate, not the whole thing, obviously, I won't be able to see all that, but you can just see the process of how it goes. I'm just drawing in Photoshop right now. When I actually animate it, it's just easier in Photoshop for me to use, because I like the brushes and just the functionality. I'm just really familiar with it. But when I really clean up the animation, depending on how far I take it, if I go full color or not, I'll probably animate in Clip Studio that has a better timeline. Right now I'm just using a simple animation timeline that Photoshop has. It's mainly used for like creating GIFs and stuff like that. So first I probably need a border, because ideally what's going to happen is, the Kickstarter page is going to be real long, and so I need to cover this entire width, or else it'll scale it when I post it onto Kickstarter. It up so it's even with his waist. Fish cube. So what was behind the inspiration to have an elemental theme for this fine family of fluffy felines? Honestly, it's not deep or anything like that. I've just I grew up in not obviously to y'all, but in the 80s, and everything was kind of simple. Like I don't know if anybody's familiar with Battle Beasts. It's like this little small action figure, and they had elemental like transformer rub stickers where you could rub them and reveal their element. Little things like that have always just been kind of interesting to me. I mean, it's simple and basic, but sometimes less is more. So, you know, I just like cats. And then I was trying to think of a good small series to do that would be, you know, not too expansive, and then something that I could just pick out easily. And I had the elemental idea, and then there went through various iterations of the designs. To first I was going to do like some small, simple, like smaller, simple sculpts where the cats were literally the element. So the cat would be sitting, you know, maybe more animalistic, just sitting on its back legs, and then he would be entirely fire, and then the water one would be doing something, but it would be entirely water, like it'd be made of water. So the whole piece would probably be translucent, but I ended up going with something a little more anthropomorphic. It just felt like the right direction to go as I was sketching. Oh, you remember those Battle Beast, Chief? Yeah. Yeah, those are old school. Okay, so I'm gonna have them reach off screen and then come back in, add a new frame. Let's see, it's fully. I'm gonna try not to go crazy on moving the canvas or like that, moving the canvas around or rotating or not. There's a couple of little ticks I'll do as I'm drawing, and it's hard to not to focus on not doing that stuff, so that way it doesn't look crazy to y'all. But right now, like, ideally I would rotate this because it's just an awkward angle for me to try and do what I'm trying to plan on doing. The things I do for y'all. So he's gonna pull it in. Kickstarter video has an 80s cartoon feel tray. Yeah, that was kind of the goal. That's, you know, I've seen a couple of kind of mock 80 cartoon intros that animators have done on YouTube and whatnot, and that was kind of where the inspiration came from. And then obviously just because I grew up in that time period, just wanted to do that Thundercat style, just flashy intro to the best that I could do in a limited time frame and capacity with, you know, no help. I'm gonna flip this around. Feel that pull a little more. It's not working as is. Usually this stuff's not super flashy in the beginning. You know, I'm using a very shorthand method to draw them just to get the animation out. But y'all get the idea. So I have particular aspect of the creative process which brings me the most joy. Honestly, I would say that's probably my biggest problem. Kind of enjoy it all. And that's dangerous, I guess, to myself enough in enough areas to distract me. So instead of just focusing solely on like sculpting only or animating or just illustrating and doing a graphic novel or something related to that, I kind of dabble in multiple areas. Kind of the old phrase, just jack of all trades, master of none. So he's gonna pull this in. I need him to just kind of throw it on screen so that way less frames to animate. Animators are lazy. So I need to get to the edge of the screen fast. See his hand right here. Out. Oh, but to go back to your question about my creative process, I don't know. I guess I've discovered a couple of things I do enjoy. Like when I was making the prototype, I never thought I would enjoy mold making as much as I did, but that's a part of the process that I really like. It's just, not something that I can focus on all the time because, so much other stuff has to be done. So, settle in. How many frames do you need to draw for the animation? It just depends. Depends on the action. Like obviously, broader actions are quicker. So like I could really sell that he's reaching off screen with just 2 frames. But if he was sitting here and doing something very subtle, maybe just like tapping his hand and looking left and right very subtly, that would become a problem because you'd need more frames to describe the subtle action. Unless it's just Poppy, obviously. Like I could literally just turn his head one direction and just use that. But if you want it to be smooth and it's subtle, you're gonna need a little bit more frames. But for what I'm going for here, it's just gonna be pretty basic. I'll probably do a couple of in-betweens and breakdowns and stuff. Right now I'm just getting the main idea out. I like the music. I was trying to figure out what to do, and as I was searching through Epidemic Sound, it's like royalty-free music, so I don't get copyright stricken. Started finding like a lot of these like synthesizer things, and being a kid of the 80s, it just sounds like some of them could be from that time period, or a lot of them sound like video game music, which is interesting to me. This pose isn't working. Need to feel like he's pulling more. Do is let's redo it. Any of y'all have any big plans for the weekend? I know it's getting close to holiday times. Didn't know if anybody was even going to really be able to make it to the live stream. That's my biggest concern with the Kickstarter running at this time, is smack dab in the middle of 2 holidays. What led you from 2D animation to sculpting? I actually always kind of enjoyed sculpting. I mean, I just, I think once 3D kind of caught up a little more, because traditional has its own challenges, and before I started doing 3D, I didn't stick with it because traditional wasn't as accessible to me, in the sense of I couldn't get it to do what I wanted to do as well. You know, as I've grown older, I like going back to traditional every now and then for, you know, for just the reasons of it's a change of pace, and every now and then it's good to go back and do some traditional stuff. But 3D just made it a little more accessible, where I could easily get the figure, I could get an idea out into the way I wanted, printed out, and then I didn't have to worry about like cutting keys and separating pieces for molding, because I can do that much easier in 3D than I can in 2D. I mean, traditional. But I've always just enjoyed figures, and then when you're drawing, you know, a lot of it is based on form. Like you're obviously designing characters, and you're thinking about things in dimension, and that's always been an aspect of drawing that I really like and stick to, sometimes to a detriment, where sometimes I get a little stiff because I'm focused on form. But since that's basically drawing is just sculpting in 2D, it was kind of a natural transition. It needs some drag. One more. Punch him up. Ooh. So here are the problems you run into. So I have his back arm high, grabbing high, but over here I have it grabbing low, so gotta work that out. You almost can't tell just in the movement, but I need to fix that, because that's, when I clean everything up, that'll be super noticeable. When you visualize a concept, is it in 2D or 3D? Is it easier to translate an idea you have from 2D to 3D, or vice versa? It really all depends. If there's a little bit, as a sculptor, there's a little bit of leeway that I have, since I'm also, at least on my own stuff, technically the designer. So what I'll do is I'll come up with a very rough concept for the drawing. I won't, I'll figure it out as much as I can, but then I'll go and move into sculpting, but I won't stay super tight in the drawing, because what happens is in the concept phase, for the most part, there's a lot of cheats that are used during drawing, for like his arm back here on this section right here. It might not look exactly like that, and when I did this character in 3D, so I'll usually stay loose in my concept, and then I'll kind of take it and finish it in 3D. because in there I might see that a form isn't working the exact way I wanted it to, and my goal, it being a 3D sculpture, is that at least it has to look good in that final piece. So I'll make it look best I can in 3D while following the 2D concept as much as I can. But if you do somebody else's sculpt, like if I was given a concept image from somebody that I was doing freelance work for or something, I would stick to their drawing as close as possible, because you'll get some loose sketches or you'll get some really tight ones, and it just depends on what the concept art gives you. But for the most part, since I'm doing all this stuff myself, I can almost come up with something really loose and just design it in 3D. Sometimes I'll even do that, depending. I won't even draw it. I'll just start sculpting from scratch. Problem there is, if I do have something I'm trying to launch and I don't have any drawings, I have to go back afterwards and almost draw it like the sculpt. So if I sculpted the next, the water sage, the next fantastical feline, the next fantastical feline, all from 3D, and never did a drawing, then I'd have to go back and do a whole bunch of drawings and figure that out just to do all the marketing art. And sometimes that's harder, because I have to, when I'm drawing certain, like for this animation stuff, doing this, I'm getting a good feel of the character. So, the first few drawings might be a little rough whenever I'm figuring out a character, and then, you have to kind of learn the character. But as you go, you start getting a feel for his anatomy, his proportions, how he looks, and how he can emote expressions and whatnot. So that's usually beneficial too, if I draw for a little bit on a character and then sculpt them. And there's usually just a fine line that you have to tread between just sitting here, drawing constantly and not getting to the actual sculpt if you're trying to make a product. But with all these marketing materials I've kind of had to do for the Fire Sage, it's just gotten a little easier. I've gotten more familiar with them. Yes, that one feels better. So right here, you can see that it's not really getting that feeling of him pulling, but now we can get that. We could even exaggerate this a little bit more. This is the joy of digital. I mean, you just have so much flexibility. Because right now, I'm not super concerned with the sketch. I'm more concentrating on the movement and the emotion, because that frame's going to go by, so I just need it to, gonna need a transition from there, but I just need it to feel like he's tugging. This one probably needs to move. Were you born with brilliance, or did you come by it in time? I know who said that. I think we all do. I wasn't born with it. Experience breeds brilliance. That's wisdom for you. I'll give you that one for free. Hopefully that's not loud for y'all. I have a tendency to try not to sniff constantly. I think I was sick. But I'm not, trust me. How many viewers we got going on here? Nice, we're doing good. I'm gonna assume most of it's the Cove, which I appreciate. The idea I'm also gonna do is being lazy, so I'm gonna cheat because in the intro, animated intro, whoops, there's a section where the flame transition wipes the screen off into the logo. So I'll use that here, and I'll make this will be like tattered paper that he's dragging in, and then I'll do the flame overlay to transition like it burned off, and then I'm gonna cycle back into this. So basically, the whole thing will play on a loop. He'll pull in the screen, and then it'll burn away, and then you'll see him revealed, like, shocked that it burned away, and then he'll go back into this state. So this key pose might change. Right now, I need something that'll loop back in. I'll show you in a minute. Let me get this frame set up. So for this one, it's going to be that flame transition that I have in the animation. I'll just reuse that, make it look like the paper's burning up. So on the next one, this one. So I'll just give y'all a rough idea. So the flame will start up, it'll flare up, and then we'll go into where it wipes off. I'll tell you what, let me do this as well. We'll pick a color and we'll silhouette these. Have to be pretty, but if I block in some color, it's a lot easier to see the animation and the silhouettes and what's going on. Do that. We don't want this one anymore. Let's see. Spamming the like button. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know who that was. If that's not you saying you were spamming it. Well, we all know who that one was. Always good to surround yourself with brilliant people. That's true. It's true. Jesse is quite brilliant. I'm gonna assume that's what you meant, Patrick. He'll appreciate you calling him that. But we already all knew that, right? Let me do this one frame and then I'll catch up on chat a little bit. I see some people are saying some stuff. All the stuff. Let's see. Of the elements, why did you start with fire? That's a good question. I don't know. I think it was just, at least in my initial thoughts, was the most interesting one to draw. I guess maybe even I probably had an idea. I can't remember, but I probably had that like an idea for the figure and the pose first, and it just came easier than trying to figure out what I would do for the other ones. And not to mention I have some ideas for the water sage that are going to be a little more complicated with the translucent pieces. So like the idea for the fire one was a little easier because the translucent pieces aren't doing any like thin, crazy, like twisting motions. So they're just big blocks and chunks, and I could mold that easier. So that's probably why I went with that one. Oh, is Angela in? I didn't see. That's, yep. HQ. Wait, what? Yes, I'm not even gonna read that one, Fishkey, but yes, we'll go with that one. Oh my goodness, hey Rory, what's up? Yeah, I'm still doing things. Been ages, man. How are you doing? Oh, I see, Patrick. Yeah, you meant Rick. Yeah, I'm sure he won't see this chat. Jesse, you'll never know. Oh, he just revealed himself. Never mind. Catching up. Oh, you're such a kidder. Okay, so as you can see, it's a little easier to see the animations because you can see the silhouette of the character. So he'll pull this in, and then the idea is they'll start flaming up. And when I do this, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about with the flames a little better. In my head, it's gonna work, but it doesn't always happen when I start drawing it. So we'll see. So I don't know if any of y'all caught up with or looked on the Kickstarter page, but we had a few backers last night, so it actually put us over 7,000. I think we're 79%. We're a shy bit away from 80. That was good. Do I have headcanon on the corrupted version? How he became corrupted and led to the color change? Yeah. So when I was wanting to do the figure, come up with color variants, just to give people a little bit of an option and a possible way to do a limited edition of the figure on the Kickstarter page. And the corrupted kind of just spawned from a little bit of like the very not thought out storyline. So the idea is the basically the four elements, like the sages, are just basically tasked with like keeping balance in everything in life in general. And what happens is when when things get too far out of balance and aren't maintained, like the villain would be chaos, kind of like in kind of the vagueness of the nothing in the never-ending story. See, I'm sure most of y'all will get that. I don't think the crowd's that young. So right now it's just a very broad threat in the storyline of it, of just chaos being that Galactus style, just omnipotent villain. You know, even like the Pirates of Dark Water, that old cartoon, if any of y'all remember that. I mean, there was a main bad pirate, but the idea is like Dark Water was just consuming everything. So it'll be like that, where when the balance is out of whack, chaos starts to take over, and then it corrupts the sage. So that's kind of just the overall idea. If I flesh anything out more, I mean, I could do some short stories or something, but I mean, just there's so much going on. I can only spin so many plates at a time. Been a long time. I'm still doing advertising too as creative director. Oh, that's nice. Awesome. Thanks, Roy. I see on your posts sometimes you do some sneaker stuff. That's really cool. I'm assuming there's like a almost kind of like the equivalent of in the toy world, there's like modders and customizers where they'll take a figure and actually customize it, you know, even sculpting new parts, you know, cutting things off from the actual produced part and sculpting new parts. I don't know if that's the level that the direction you go, or if it's actually much deeper than that. You know, I don't want to speculate too much and end up being insulting. Okay, here we go. So the idea is on the flame section, because it starts burning away in the animation. So I can actually utilize that to have it reveal everything. Now you can see what I was talking about, which I'm sure most of you already got the idea. So you would be able to see the character here as the paper burns away. Just need to do a better expression of what I'm thinking he'll be doing. And depending on, you know, how things go, I don't plan on like cleaning this up very much. I want to keep it loose, obviously, just for time purposes. It doesn't have to be fully fleshed out. I would just like to, the idea was just to have something interesting for an update whenever we pass the finish line, or not finish line, actually, we don't want that, the goal. When we reach that, I could be able to post this. And the one thing I'm trying to avoid from when we did CS Kickstarters is it was always easier to make things interesting with Nate's videos and just any other graphics we had and just the live stuff. But here I can at least just post some pretty pictures and animations. Let's see what's going on. Just trying to catch up with the chat here. Let's see. Yeah, Pirates of Dark Water. I haven't thought of that one in a long time either, but I mean, I think the sad thing was it was one of those shows of the 80s that just fell victim to the toys not selling or something. It basically got canceled like super fast. Because I always remember as a kid, very, once it was out, I was like, I love the show, but then never saw it again and always watched like reruns, but it obviously felt like it was the same show, episodes over and over, which now I, getting older and knowing the history, I get it. I was like, okay, there was nothing out. So they just ended up canceling a great show, probably because it wasn't polling well with the viewers and the ratings and all that crap. Purple is limited to this KS. Is there a possibility of small runs of other colors for cons or events in the future? I mean, there's always a possibility. Like I did want to have 3 colorways. I wanted to have a red one, a purple one, and then a Kickstarter exclusive green one. The problem is it would up the funding goal higher than I was confident or comfortable even that we would reach, because the factory is not giving me a price break, even though it's like the same mold for the figure, and even theoretically the same paint masks. I don't know if they have to do new ones, even though it's the same colors, color breaks for different colors, but I have a minimum order that I have to order. And usually, like, if that's 50, when you order 100 or 250, you start getting price breaks where the figure becomes a little cheaper to produce the higher you go. But instead of saying I have a red one and a purple one, and saying there's 50 of the minimum here, I have a minimum order, and I have a minimum order of both colors, and that equals 100, and I get a price break. They're not doing that, so I basically have to. It's like ordering a whole nother figure. Is why I didn't want to do too many color variants, and I ended up just not doing the green one, because I would have to, instead of 9,000, I would have had to ask for like 12,000 or maybe even a little more. So it would have just upped it too much, and then the problem becomes if a lot of people, it's not like people are, I really didn't think people were going to buy 3 copies of the figure. So then it just becomes a choice. I just gave people another choice, and now I have to produce more figures, and I'm not going to sell as many figures. So it's just complicated, but I would love to do more colors even later down the line. If this is successful and then I make more figures after this for the rest of the series, I would always love to do a second run with different colors for collectability aspect. And to just keep going, obviously. Yeah, customizing mods is huge. I played around a bit with modeling and 3D printing designs. Oh yeah, 3D printing has gotten crazy lately, and it's so much more accessible with the printers that are coming out, because used to the even just the affordable like resin printers were, you were looking over $1,000 easy, but nowadays they're doing with the DLP, the screens, basically the LCD screens, it's just so much more affordable. And then obviously the FDM printers, where it melts plastic and does it, is super affordable, but those are usually better for practical parts or really large prints. Using purple as the ultimate color was an excellent choice. It looks great too. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I was debating, because changing the cape and cloth and everything to black was kind of an easy choice. But then once that happens, you can use anything. Like green would have looked good if his cloak was black and it was green. I mean, that's typical villainous colors. You could even probably pull off a blue as long as like his apparel is black. So I mean, even a pink would look evilish if it was. A lot of it comes from the dark clothing. But yes, I like the purple too a lot. Oh, good. Well, apparently everybody was in agreement with the purple. Hard path to follow with his videos, but the work speaks for itself. Is there something wrong with the videos, Jesse? I'm not sure I understood that one. pretty amazing to see. Oh, thanks. Yeah, so again, I was thinking of doing some drawing sessions just because that's easy, because I'm going to do a couple more during the Kickstarter. But I was thinking, depending on, what everybody wants to see, maybe the next one I could, figure out and just do a quick sculpt, it's something rough and loose, so that way you can actually see the sculpting process as well. We have to figure out what I would sculpt, because I don't know off the top of my head. That's a little bit of a slower process, but if I'm doing a rough, real quick sculpt, I can get something out simple for y'all. And maybe we do it over a couple of streams, so that way it's I could do a couple more streams during the Kickstarter, and that would be cool. Oh, thanks, Crafty Girl. Yeah, the purple was good, and also I didn't explain this anywhere because it hasn't come up yet, but all the corrupted sages are going to be purple, so that's kind of the goal. Like I was going to do, and that was what made the idea for the limited green one for the Kickstarter variant a little complicated, because I started having to think how I would shade that green or color his alternate color, because I'm also thinking the Earth Sage is most likely going to be in a green outfit, and I'm thinking green outfit, maybe orange like gems to represent Earth, because I still have to continue the translucent stuff, so it'll be kind of like gemstones or crystal looking shapes. But that creates a problem when trying to figure out how to do the character that's already green and then come up with a green variant. But all the sages will be, when they're the corrupted versions, they'll be purple. So the water sage will have purple water and change the apparel to black. Same with the air and earth sage. Oh yeah, Nate's videos. Yes, yeah, that's that was always amazing. Not only that but it was also in parallel. So right now, if we do a video or anything, being a shorter staff, obviously, I'm doing something and then I have to stop to do the video as well. But when Nate was here, it was amazing because we could all just move the pig further faster. Yeah, so maybe I'll do a sculpting one, and then we can I can poll a couple of people on the Cove or something, or if anybody has a suggestion, we can figure out something kind of simple to sculpt. Guess he's switching accounts on us. Oh, what? Hey, he did. I guess he had to get something a little more relevant. Just the first account you grabbed? Oh, how many you have? Okay, anyway, so let's get back to this. Got distracted. Let me see. I need a finishing pose. So after he pulls this in, he'll probably be standing here. My thought is kind of to give him a little bit of a shocked expression. So what we'll do is, looks like he didn't know it was gonna burn down for some reason. I'm thinking, who knows, like maybe when he slid the message over, his tail ended up catching it and he was on fire, or his hands are just too hot and it's caught it on fire. Whatever you want to come up with. It's a little story to kind of sell the stuff. It's a little big, but we can size that down. scale. Okay, let's put it this way. Yeah, saying that's the again the joys of digital. I can massage this all around without having to redraw it just to fix it. I mean, there's so many shorthands that just make things easier. Feels like cheating, but it's not. So figure out some goofy pose for him to be in. Massage the drawing a little bit, it's still not going right. Now he's feeling definitely skinny. Just trying to find something that kind of looks a little goofy without being too goofy. Trying to get some a little bit of humor, but he's still not really a humorous character, so I don't want to go crazy. I think what's throwing me off is I still need to keep his almond eyes as much as I can. Let's see. Let me catch up in chat. Recording video. Man, so you're still working, Jesse, while doing this? Multitasking, huh? Roy, are you working in Photoshop? Yeah, I'm just doing all this in Photoshop just because I'm a little more familiar with it, and I like the brushes. But when I really set down to try to clean this up a little bit, I'll animate in Clip Studio Paint. They have a really good animation timeline. It's just better at it than Photoshop. I wish I could switch my brushes over to Clip Studio. I think there was an option for that. It just didn't work as well as, they make it sound like it does. The brushes still act differently. Okay, so this actually will happen on this frame as well. So let it real fast. Weird. Apparently it maintains, got the stupid setting where it changes position on keyframes. I didn't want that, so let me redo that. Okay, so now you can see what's going on. So I'm just gonna have to figure out how to get from that frame to that frame convincingly, and I might alter this frame so that way it's not like he goes back to resting down and then all of a sudden he needs to transition from here to here more naturally. So instead of starting like he's resting on the edge of the frame, I need to figure something out. That's fine, Trey. We'll see you later. Thanks for dropping by. I don't know how much longer I'll do. We hit the hour mark, so and this will be up for anybody that wants to watch it later. I just wanted to stream for at least 30 minutes to an hour, and then I was gonna see how it went. So I might be ending it soon. So I mean, I got the majority of it blocked in. At this point, you know, it's gonna what we'll do is trying to space out my letters. So it'll either be thank you, or maybe even it'd be better just like we did it, we made it. I can put something on, but that's the idea. So he'll pull this in. Let's go ahead and copy this. So finish the effect. And you'll be able to see it a lot better because it'll make sense. So squash and stretch. Good. This bit of it visible here would cheat that just so you see it coming in. You get the idea. Interesting to see the drawing process. I'd still be working on the box outline. Ah, come on. I think you could still do better than that. I mean, that's the joy of Photoshop. It makes it easy. But you can draw a straight line just by holding shift. It doesn't matter where my pen goes. Even you could do it. Anybody can draw. I've always believed that, and I will never not believe that. It depends on dedication and sticking with it, just being interested in it. If you're not interested in it, you're not going to stick with it. Well, I appreciate that, Patrick. Yeah, there's, I don't know, there's not really a whole lot of, it's not a big secret of how to do it. It just, you see it in your head and you kind of, some people can one-to-one draw what they see, but, I just have like a foggy vision of what I want. Then I just kind of just like discover it while I'm laying down the shapes. So basically it's like writing a bad novel draft just so you can have something to edit. That's kind of the process that happens. I just pull out some shapes that I'm seeing in my head and then editing it on the fly as I work and sculpt it out, depending on what I'm trying to make the character do, or which direction he's looking, anything like that. Let's see. Does he celebrate on clap before thank you? Can't. There's a stupid like heart icon in front of my thing. I can't see what your message actually is. Oh, or clap. YouTube puts my little emoji symbol right in front of the chat. Does he celebrate or clap before the thank you? You mean before he actually like pulls it all the way on? No. Like right now, this is a very vague starting point, starting pose. I don't know. I'm gonna now edit this pose so I can transition from this to this and this seamlessly. So like this pose right now is an unnecessary pose because he's gonna sit here and be shocked, maybe blink a couple times, and then he needs to reset into pulling it out again because I want to cycle this. But if he's shocked and then goes back to sitting, resting like that for no reason, then that's what I'm trying to avoid. There's kind of no reason for him to say, let me set back into this key pose, and then all of a sudden decide to pull this out. So I need a more natural looking state. I don't know. But yeah, he could celebrate, I guess, and clap, but I don't see that necessarily being his character. I mean, this is even a little bit of a stretch because he's kind of too goofy. I need to figure out a kind of more stoic type of goofy expression for this guy because he would still be shocked, but he wouldn't be like dumbfounded. So I'll still massage this, but I'm just getting the main story points out. So I still have to do a couple like in betweens and then clean up frames so that way they're a little tighter. Let's see. So what's everybody thinking about Streamlink? I haven't streamed in a while and definitely haven't streamed on YouTube ever before. Anybody who started here, I can't imagine sticking around, but I mean, I guess I could continue on. The chat's doing pretty good and we've had a consistent amount of viewers. I was hoping we could maybe get some new eyes. I posted on all the socials, so I mean, I guess then technically the link will still work. So then when they see it online, they'll be able to see the chat and see us talking about the Kickstarter and everything. So that'll be good. I'll just do a quick link for this guy real quick and then maybe we'll call it. this. When I actually animate this, I won't have 2 copies of the body. I'll just separate the eyes from the body and it'll be much easier. So. So he'll pull this, he'll burn up, his little thank you sign burned up, and he'll just be like, blink, blink. Just kind of, he's like, well, I didn't expect that. He needs to go into this. Makes up for all the canceled Friday drawing sessions. Oh yeah, I mean, we used to, Jesse and I would, and we did that. Did we do that every Friday, or did we do that more frequently? I just remember we did that, but some of those Friday sessions would end up rolling a lot longer than just the morning, so we had to scale back on that. Did it almost every morning. Oh, okay, but we went live on Friday. That's right. That's right. That was ages ago. All right. I think I'm just gonna end up calling it. That was a good stream. Got an hour long, and then anybody that sees the link afterwards can catch up and hopefully check out the Kickstarter. Any of the links will be down in the description. Just go check it out and look at the figure that's spinning on the screen right now. Anybody have any last questions? I'll give the chat a minute. I think there's a delay. But I think we still have 20 days left in the campaign, so there's still plenty of time. But this was the first week. I believe there will technically be 3 more weeks, and it'll end on a Friday on the 22nd. I believe at 6 p.m. I'm not exactly sure. I'll double check and notify everybody. But yes, we have pretty much 3 full weeks from this point, minus 1 week. Let's see. Good picture, good audio. Yeah, I was a little concerned about the audio and everything. I'm glad everything worked out. The camera is not the best, but I think that's because partially the low lighting. It's so dark in here. Otherwise, I get a nasty glare on the screen, and I can't see anything I'm doing. Yeah, thanks for everybody showing up. I do appreciate y'all, especially all y'all supporting the campaign. I mean, it really means a lot. This first one's definitely going to be a bit more of a struggle. Hopefully the next ones, if this one does pass the goal, which I think it will, all the next ones should be a little smoother. It's just this one's, you know, the ground floor. Thank you, Fish Cube. Yeah, appreciate that.